The curse of the family heirloom. This family heirloom has been passed down for generations, but with every passing, its curse grows stronger. The tale begins many generations ago, in a time when a wealthy noble family, the Ravenshaws, lived in a grand estate perched on the cliffs of a forgotten coastal village. The family was known for their riches, their influence, and a mysterious heirloom that had been passed down through the generations, a beautiful, intricately crafted silver locket. It was said to have been a gift from a great queen of an ancient kingdom, passed down to one member of the Ravenshaw family as a sign of honour and status. The heirloom, however, was not simply a precious object, it was the result of a dark bargain. The Ravenshaw patriarch, Lord Elias Ravenshaw, was a man consumed with ambition and power. He was not satisfied with the wealth and land he already possessed. In a moment of desperation, he sought the aid of an ancient, dark sorcerer, whose reputation for granting wishes and bestowing untold power was legendary. But such power comes at a great cost. The sorcerer demanded Elias's soul in exchange for the riches and eternal life that would allow him to build an empire that would last for centuries. Desperate to secure his family's place in history, Elias agreed without fully understanding the consequences. The sorcerer bound their pact by creating the locket, a physical manifestation of the bargain. The locket would be passed down through generations, and in exchange for wealth, success, and an eternal bloodline, each new owner would be cursed to suffer and die under mysterious, tragic circumstances. Once the pact was sealed, the Ravenshaw family began to prosper like never before. Elias Ravenshaw amassed power, built vast estates, and saw his family rise to prominence. But what came with their fortune was a shadow of doom, hidden beneath the surface of their success. The first tragedy struck when Elias's son, Thomas Ravenshaw, inherited the locket. At first, he enjoyed the benefits of the curse. His wealth grew, his influence expanded. But as the years went on, he became increasingly paranoid. The locket seemed to possess a malevolent energy that gnawed at his mind, whispering to him in moments of solitude. His health began to deteriorate, and his once glorious empire began to crumble. One stormy night, Thomas was found dead in his study, a look of terror frozen on his face, the locket still tightly clasped around his neck. Each new generation that inherited the locket faced their own cruel fate, marked by the same tragic pattern. Some died in violent accidents, others succumbed to madness, and a few were even murdered under mysterious circumstances. The locket, now drenched in the sorrow and pain of countless deaths, seemed to grow more sinister with each passing year. The curse did not just bring death, it tore the family apart. After Thomas's untimely death, his daughter, Eliza Ravenshaw, became the next heir to the locket. Eliza, aware of the strange misfortunes that befell the Ravenshaws, grew desperate to break the curse. She sought out ancient texts, consulted mystics, and even tried to destroy the locket, but every attempt only deepened the family's suffering. Eliza's son, William Ravenshaw, inherited the locket after her passing. But unlike his predecessors, William believed the curse was a myth, a superstition passed down by fearful ancestors. He wore the locket proudly, oblivious to its dark influence. Soon, his business ventures, once thriving, began to fail. His health declined rapidly, and he became haunted by nightmares of his forebears' tragic deaths. One fateful night, as the family gathered for a final reunion at the Ravenshaw estate, William's youngest daughter, Margaret, saw the locket for the first time. It was at this moment that the full weight of the curse seemed to descend upon the Ravenshaws. Margaret, frightened and curious, touched the locket and felt an overwhelming sense of dread. That night, the estate burned to the ground under mysterious circumstances, killing everyone inside, except for Margaret. The heirloom in modern times, Margaret Ravenshaw, the last living member of the family, was taken in by distant relatives who knew little about the Ravenshaw legacy. As an adult, Margaret moved to a small town and settled in a quiet cottage. Yet, despite her best efforts to move on, she couldn't escape the memories of her family's tragic fate. In the attic of her new home, Margaret stumbled upon an old chest. To her shock, inside was the very same silver locket that had caused her family so much pain. Despite her knowledge of the curse, she couldn't bring herself to destroy it. She felt an inexplicable pull toward the heirloom, as if it still had power over her. As she wore the locket once more, strange things began to happen. People she loved mysteriously disappeared. Her career fell apart, and she became plagued by visions of her family's past, reliving the horrors they had endured. The locket was not simply an heirloom, it was an anchor to the curse, a dark force that had now fully manifested in her life. Margaret, now desperate and tormented, realized that the curse could never truly be broken. Not until the object was destroyed, but the locket held a power so great that even attempting to destroy it seemed impossible. Its legacy had bound the Ravenshaw family to eternal suffering, and now, Margaret feared she too would be claimed by its terrible grip. The curse had not just been passed down through generations, it had become a part of the family's very essence, a legacy of misery that could not be undone. And the locket, the symbol of the Ravenshaw family's rise and fall, continued to haunt the present, waiting for the next heir to inherit its dark legacy. The story of the cursed heirloom of the Ravenshaw family is one of greed, sorrow, and the inescapable consequences of past actions. Each family member who inherited the locket suffered in ways both physical and psychological, bound to a curse that seemed to follow the bloodline without mercy. The heirloom, originally a symbol of power and status, became the object that chained the Ravenshaw family to their own doom. The cycle of tragedy would continue as long as the heirloom was passed down, with each generation destined to fall victim to its dark influence. In the end, the story of the curse is a warning. Some objects, once touched by darkness, are never truly free. The heirloom is both a relic of the family's past and a constant reminder of the price that must be paid for ambition and bargains made in the shadows. The curse lives on, and its power remains, waiting for the next owner to come.